Yeah, 5 and 9, Graham, 5 and 9. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I can't hear him in the noise, but that's about it. I know you're there, Graham. Sorry, GHQJ. But I don't expect this vertical to work into G too well, to be quite honest with you. But I'm going to put the other aerial up in the tree for other things. But it does work. I know it works. It's just a bit weird that transmit seems to be better than receive, and that's on all the aerials I've tried. So it's very strange. I will work round it. I certainly will. And cheers for Simon for the report. He's listening on. He's obviously listening because he sent me slight messages. Terry. So over to you there, Graham. Oscar Zulu 1 Whiskey Portable. If you can hear me, GHQJ.
Oh, I can hear you all right, Barry. GHQJ. I'm the group from OZ1W Portable. Very good, Barry. You're picking S9 with me. Terry, you're 5.9 plus. I haven't heard John yet since I've been here. At the moment, I'm using the elevated radial, just one degree, that is pointing in your direction, 245 compass bearing, 245. And thanks for the 5.9. So if you could all kindly make a note of the sort of average received signal with this one counterpoise, that would be good. And then what I will do next is I will change to the one that's the reciprocal of this, which is off the back of it, so to speak. And Barry, yes, I don't really understand why you don't hear me better either from home or from here, because as I say, you're peaking S9. Now, it might be a stupid thing to ask, but I suppose you haven't got the attenuator in, and I suppose there's nothing wrong with the 990, because every aerial you try, we always hear you, and you can't hear me, and I don't really understand it at all, Barry. I wonder what John thinks. GI0HWO with GHQJ, G4POP, Oscar Zulu 1 Whiskey Portable, over.
GI0HWO.
Yeah, I know conditions are odd, but I do find that strange. That it's every aerial that Barry tries. That's most peculiar. Graham, you're 5.8 to 9. There is some QSB on your signal, but 5.8, peaking 5.9 at the moment. So do your changeover, and we'll give you a report on the wire running in the other direction. But everybody eminently readable this morning, though it is quite noisy, very noisy last night on here with the static over Northern Spain. That was quite a firework display. G4POP with the group GI0HWO.
Yeah, G4POP, yeah, Graham, you're a steady 5.7 peaking to 5.8 at times with that radial on 245 degrees, so I'd be very interested to see what it is on the reciprocal. That would be a good check to have. And I think just a question for Barry on your next over, Barry. When you say you haven't got a good receive, but you've got a very good transmit, is that across all bands, or is that just on 60 metres? Because if it's just on 60 metres, I'm not at all surprised, because 60 metres is a bit like that. The reciprocal signals are not always as good. So GLHQJ, G4POP in a group.
GLHQJ. Well, I'm listening on Hank Green at the moment.
You know, with it.
No trouble on 40 metres, 20 metres, blah, blah, blah. It just seems to be on this band. It's a bit weird. I will find something out about it. It's just strange. This vertical's a lot quieter than the MFED. And it's working. It turns out the SWR's 1.4, I think, something like that. 1.1 anyway. And it's just weird. I don't know whether it's just the location or not, but I can hear things on 80 metres. I can hear things on 40, no problems at all. 7 metres, etc., etc. But it's just on this band, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised at that, Graham. You can check with, Barry. You can check with Simon. We've had lots of occasions where Simon could hear me and I couldn't hear him. So it seems that there is a sort of a trait with the band of you're not being able to receive as well as you can be heard. So I wouldn't actually get out my pram too much about it. You might want to think in the loop for receive them. Anyway, let's put it around to Graham. Let's see if Graham's got the radio on yet. OZ1W, G4POP in a group.
G4POP. With GI0HWO from OZ1W. Now on the reciprocal radial. It's 245 degrees. And I haven't noticed very much difference in receive. Barry, when you came back, you were stronger than Terry. You were actually 10 over 9 on the meter after 7300, 10 over 9. So very, very good speed. Anyway, this is the reciprocal, John, Terry, Barry. And if you kindly give me a report, the next one and the last one get 90 degrees to 245 in the southeasterly direction, and I'm not expecting that to be very good at all. Be interested now if you can detect any sort of gain at all, John. GI0HWO, G4POP, CHQJ, Oscar Zulu 1, Whiskey Portable, over.
GI0HWO. It's so difficult, Graham, because of this flaming QSB. But I think you're a little bit louder on the one pointing towards Terry. The thing to do is do your next test with the one that's pointing at nobody, and then go back to the one that's pointing at Terry, and we'll see then. But I think it's marginally, but very, very difficult, because you've got changing conditions, you've got QSB. I think the first one was a little bit louder, Terry. What think you, Graham? What think you, Terry? Go ahead.
Yeah, G4POP. I agree with John, Graham. It's a very marginal difference, but my head is telling me that the reciprocal is not as good. If I was to say it's about 1 S point down, that would be about right. But then again, it's so difficult because it's QSB, and as you ended that over, whereas the start of that over all the way through, you've been block 5 and 6. So I was quite confident you were about an S point down, and then towards the end of that over, you came back up to S7 again. So S7 to 8. So it's very hard to discern. My gut feeling is it's not as good. So I agree with John on that one. Graham, go ahead.
G4POP, GHQJ, GI0HWO, OZ1W Portable. Okay, Terry. Well, thanks for that. This radial is now the one on 155 degrees, 155. The previous one was 65. This one, I think, is definitely down on receive. But what I will do next, I'm running around here and working up a sweat in this temperature. The next one will be back to 245 again, and then, I understand very, very difficult conditions changing. So this is 155 degrees. The previous one was 65. Next time we'll be back to 245, John. GI0HWO and the group OZ1W Portable.
GI0HWO. Yeah, I think that's down, Graham. I think I can say unequivocally, which is quite good at this time in the morning, that one is down. But we need to go back to the original one, the one that's pointing towards Terry, the 245, and that will be the acid test. But that would, as far as I'm concerned, that would follow from what I've read about these things, and never having done any tests with them. But what I've read, that would be the case, that the lobe will be in the direction of the counterpoise or the radial wire. So that would make sense. Change him over. Go back to the one pointed towards Terry, which I think is 245, and we'll take it from there. Let's see how Barry's getting on. GLHQJ with the group.
GLHQJ here in Graham. Not copying all his words, but I'm copying him. No problem at all. And Terry's no problem. Nor are you there, John, so it's a bit strange. Anyway, I'll suss this thing out. It's not the radio. I know it's not the radio because I put the aerial on the 7300s, as you know, a few weeks ago. It's just the same. It's just a bit weird. Can't work it out. But anyway, we'll get there in the end. G4POP in the group, GHQJ.
Yeah, G4POP. Yeah, okay, Graham, Barry. I don't want to keep stumbling over the name. Yeah, well, as I said before, I think you'll find it's the band. This is a bit of a odd band, as you've found in the past, and we've all agreed that it's very strange at times, so I wouldn't lose too much sleep about it, but I think you'll find that you could probably do better with a receive loop, and then use the vertical for transmit on this band. You can even make one up, Barry, you know, just a couple of coils of wire on a former, and about 3 foot diameter, 4 foot diameter like that, and tune it to this band, the receive, and you might find that better. But anyway, let's see how Graham's getting on with putting it back to 245 degrees. I agree with John, the 1.155 or whatever it was no better than the radio on the 065. So let's see how Graham is now. OZ1W, G4POP.
G4POP and the group from Zulu 1 Whiskey. Terry, thank you all. I'm now on the 245 degrees, Terry and John and Barry, 245. So back to the original. John, what I'm going to do on the next transmission, if you've got time, is I'm going to move the electric fence post carrying the radio, and I'm going to move it in your direction, John, which is very roughly 275. You're just slightly north of due west from me. So I'm going to move it in your direction so it's absolutely face onto you, John, and see if you notice any gain difference then. GI0HWO on 245 at the moment, OZ1W.
GI0HWO, yeah, that is definitely louder with me, Graham, on the 245. It's much better than the other two, but it'd be interesting to see if you point it directly at me to see what that's like. But I think that, of the three you've tried, 245 is definitely the best. Terry, comments, go ahead.
Yeah, Graham, I agree with John. 245 is marked difference, and it certainly is performing better in my direction. So I think we've proved the point on that. The lobe is in line with the radio or counterpoise, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how it performs when you put it towards the John, and how I receive you off the sort of side of the lobe on that one. But it was definitely not as good on 155, so and also would be an interesting exercise to go back to using the 3 radials and see if that makes any difference. Graham, go ahead. So I think he's playing radials. Take it, John.
Yeah, looks like he's out twiddling bits of wire. Yeah, it's definitely better on the 245, Terry. But that's a good idea. Go back on the 3 and see what happens. That would be interesting as well. I don't think there's going to be a marked difference between pointing at you and pointing at me, but we'll see when he's done it. What's it like down there, Barry, in Cornwall? I think your incoming signals are being absorbed by clotted cream. GLHQJ, GI0HWO.
Well, I can't hear Graham at all now. He's just totally disappeared with me. But you're all 5 and 8 to 9 with me, so no problem. It's clotted cream. It's overcast, drizzly, rainy. We had thunderstorms last night. We've got thunderstorms tomorrow. I think you got them tomorrow as well, John, so I don't know. Old Simon, he keeps telling me it's lovely down here, the weather's lovely. And ever since I've been down here, it's been terrible. I'll have a word with Simon later on 2 metres, see if he's monitoring. I'll catch you later there, John. Simon. Over to you there, Terry, but I can't hear Graham now. He's moved his radials or whatever he's done. I can't hear him. G4POP and the group GLHQJ.
I'm going to buy an hearing aid, Barry.
I reckon he's got the attenuator in, Dick. Morning, Dick. Nice to hear you. G4POP. Yeah, I just remind you, Barry, that on the low frequencies, most of the DXs on the low frequencies, they use a vertical to transmit, but they'll use a beverage or a loop to receive for exactly the reasons you're talking about. So I think it might be a thought to go down that route. And your radio's got an external receive aerial, I'm sure, the socket for that. And just plug it in, it automatically switches. You've got no problem there. Perhaps you could have a word with Simon. I know he's got 3 or 4 Wellbrook loops, and he might lend you one just to try it. As long as he doesn't lend you the one he lent to me, which was deaf as a post. But get him to lend you one that he knows that works instead of one that's suspect. And then you can do a comparison without costing you any money. And it's only a short trip down to see Simon to pick it up, so that might be an idea. Anyway, let's see if Graham's got his radio changed yet. OZ1W, if you're there, G4POP in a group.
Yes, I'm here, Terry, G4POP. I'm the group from OZ1W. Morning, Dick. Lovely to hear you. Nearly blew my ears off when you called in there. 25 over 9, Dick. This radio is now on 280. As near as I can tell, it might be 275 because I haven't got the compass with me. I don't know you'll notice a huge difference because it's only 30 degrees off, of course, the 245 direction. But I do agree, Barry, if you can copy me, I think a loop would make a huge difference to you to cut the noise down and you'd hear better with it. And if you don't want to make one, of course, there's a Wellbrook loop which you could mount on a small rotator and have it just, 2 or 3 feet off the ground. I think that would work very, very well indeed. Anyway, I heard you comment that you wanted me to try all 3 radials again. So just once again, this is the one on more or less pointing directly at John. It's more or less due west, and be interested to know how that is. Dick, if I pass it to you, could you then pass it to John, please? G4UPE and the group OZ1W Portable.
G4UPE. Good morning, everybody. Graham, I've been listening all the way through it, and I think 245 is better for me, Terry, Barry, and John. You're down a little tiny bit on this one, but there was also a slight change in conditions, Graham. You had a little bit of QSB on you. So, I think but this is only personally, Graham, 245 for me, and probably Terry is a lot better than a lot. Go on, Terry.
Yeah, I agree with Dick. 245 is better with me. Although this one you've now got on, which I think you said 285, is not too bad, but you're down on the 245 signal. You're about the less point down on it. So, how's John getting it? GI0HWO, G4POP.
GI0HWO, morning, Dick. Nice signal up here. I really couldn't tell a lot of difference, but it's so difficult with this QSB. I would say overall it is marginally stronger pointing at me, Graham. But there's not a lot in it. And the conditions make it very difficult to give her an exact appraisal of it. Very difficult with these conditions. This is a strange band, of that there is absolutely no doubt, but eminently readable on all the radials. Graham, are you going to put the 3 back on now? Over.
Yes, I'll do that, John. I'll certainly do that while you pass it round. I'll put the 3 of them back on. I'm not surprised there's not much difference because it's only about 30 degrees off. But of course, the next thing to try, and you'll get fed up with all these tests, is to increase the length to 3/4 of a wave, an extra half wavelength, which I can do with a crocodile clip, not today, but some other time, to measure it out and cut a piece that's exactly a half wave, clip it on, and see it's going from a 1/4 wave to 3/4 of a wave as a resonant counterpoise. If that does anything at all, John, but it might not make very much difference. I'm getting a lot of exercise doing this. Anyway, round to you. Thanks, boys, very much for all the tests this morning. And while you're chatting amongst yourselves, I'll connect all 3 back up. But bear in mind then, there's 245, 155, and 065. I've only got 3. I haven't got 4. GI0HWO, OZ1W Portable.
GI0HWO. Yeah, that may be worth doing, Graham, extending it, but it's them becoming very, what I call mucky for a portable operation. I tend to think stick to one radial and have it in an average of the favoured direction, as it were, i.e. pointing west. That should do the job for you. But interesting to see what the 3 sound like when you've connected those up. Perfectly readable right the way through. I mean, I haven't lost a word you've said, but with the the changes of direction and the QSB, it does make it very difficult to give a good assessment. G4UPE, GI0HWO.
G4UPE. John, I don't know what you're receiving, Graham. Like, I think Terry's receiving him better than me. He's absolutely S9 on the nail. Barry's S9 with me as well this morning. And I'm a bit confused with Barry on 40 metres on the odd occasion. Cannot hear certain stations that I'm talking to. So, I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether receive route, Barry, will help you or not. I really don't. But if you're on that vertical now, it's working exceedingly well. John, Graham is S9, and there was a little bit down when he had one radio along. Can't remember the angle of it now, but that 245 degrees for me, John, is the best of the lot. Good morning.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Dick. That's certainly my assessment up here, but it's very difficult with this QSB. But 245 is definitely the best one, without a doubt. Having gone round all three, I think I can put my hand on my heart and say that the 245 is the favoured one, and I think Terry would agree with that one. Anyway, let's try all three and see what happens. But conditions are changing. I'll put it to you, Terry. You can pass it round to Graham while he's fiddling with his wires. G4POP with the group, GI0HWO.
Yeah, G4POP. Just check. Barry, you still hanging around or have you gone, mate?
No, I'm still here,
Okay, mate, fair enough. We left you out on the last over, so I'll pull you in again. Yeah, it was difficult, John, because I think that somebody pulled that big switch, the one at 25 past 8, when all the signals take a pop and they go up. Because on that last over, on whatever it was on 270 degrees or something like that, his signal went up to 5, 8 to 9. So I think that was, conditions, but I think we'd already come to the conclusion that definitely 245 or that area is going to be the best. Probably due west might be the best idea, 270, and then it's going to cover you and me and the rest of the southwest of England. So we'll see now. I should think by now he's got the 3 back on. OZ1W, G4POP in the group.
And the group from OZ1W, well, Barry, you're up to 5 and 8 with me. And you have been up to S9, but 5 and 8 at the moment. Well, I've got 3 on now, so it'll be interesting to know how that compares to what you thought was the single on 245. If we notice a gain improvement with 3/4 of a wave, then of course the question is what would happen if you continue to extend it? Would it in effect be like a beverage? I'm wondering, Terry. And John, if you go to several wavelengths of wire as an elevated counterpoise 2 or 3 feet above the ground, is it going to become incredibly directional? Which would be a very, very interesting thing to try, John. GI0HWO and the group OZ1W on 4 radios.
GI0HWO, yeah, you're down, Graham, on your previous signal, but whether that's conditions or not, I don't know. I can still hear you, but you're about a 5 and 7 now. Well, you are effectively getting up towards, you need several wavelengths for a beverage, of course, but it may be worth doing the experiment, but it's getting very mucky as far as I'm concerned. Let's get your reports on all 3, but as far as I'm concerned, Graham, that's down. Compared to the 245 single, but conditions have changed dramatically. G4POP, GI0HWO.
Yeah, G4POP. I think we've gone past the point where we can give a valid observation, Graham, because the QSB has got worse, but signal strength generally have picked up. So on your last transmission, your signal was at one time peaking just over 9, and another time it was down to 5, 6, 5, 7. So I think we've gone past the time when we could do this test meaningfully. And I think up until about a quarter of an hour ago, 10 minutes ago, we were getting valid comparisons, but I don't think we are now. I don't think I'd like to comment on whether the 3 radials has made any difference or not. I couldn't give you a true answer on that. But definitely I think we've concluded that 245 or 270, that area, is going to be good for this country from your location. But let's see if Barry hears you any better with three radials. G8 HQJ, G4POP in a group.
HQJ, well, I can't hear Graham at all. I'm just about hearing him on Hack Green. He's not very strong on Hack Green either, so, you know, it's just one of those things. I will sort it out, don't worry. It's not connection. I've checked all the connections. We've got a perfect SWR, etc., etc. There's something a bit weird down here that's going on, Terry. I don't know what it is, but I'll find it. Don't worry. It could just be conditions. It probably is just conditions. But I'm copying you and John, no problems at all, and Dick, no problems at all. Very, very weird. Very weird. But that's Cornwall for you. Just pass it over to Dick. G4UPA in the group, HQJ.
Yeah, okay, Barry, G4UPA in the group. I think, Barry, that's just conditions, because you just came up to 20 over the